Welcome to Rethink Rich Now, your place for inspired thinking about life, love, and wealth. I'll post new episodes weekly, and I'm happy to get your questions and comments. Please note the information I provide on this podcast is for general purposes only. I'm not taking into consideration your personal situation. Do your own research to make decisions in the area of personal financial management. Please like and subscribe to this podcast. Future episodes will cover lots of different topics. My objective generally is to provide the information you need to start your journey towards financial success, however you define it. In this episode, we're going to talk about supply and demand, sort of the basics of economics. This is super important because you can't think about any kind of investing if you can't figure out the forces that make making money possible. I remember, as I mentioned in the last episode, I remember when I went off to college thinking I was going to study computer engineering. The courses were interesting, but I took an economics course and really felt like I had reached nirvana. Economics generally is the study of how people make decisions, small decisions, big decisions, local, national, international decisions. My experience is that regardless of race, age, body type, sexual orientation, gender, TV viewing habits, whatever, economics applies. On the internet, you can find lots of different resources to learn more about economics and how economic thinking affects our lives. I'd recommend Freakonomics is a great blog that you can read. They've also got podcasts, etc. Just any way you can find good information about how we make decisions. It's a lot. It'll help you to learn a lot, and it's a lot of fun. Be aware, the study of economics is not simply the study of money. It's really the study of how people make decisions given scarce resources. Those resources could be love, could be time, could be money, or could be other things, political power, etc. Okay? Think back to when you were a child, perhaps in kindergarten. Those were great and innocent times. Everyone got along regardless of race, gender, etc. Crayons, Lego building blocks, clay were also abundant, or so it seemed. Depending on your zip code, there might not have been a full set of crayons. In my youth, the 64 color box was the standard, and we had that in our classroom, a couple of boxes of it. But there was always missing colors. So when everyone sat down to color and draw, there was typically a fight over a few of the colors. Red was always out, or it was always broken, or just a nub. So you'd have to use fiery orange or something else that was similar. But it just wasn't the same. You'd think that in response to the demand, which I acknowledged when I was a kid, that Crayola would just put an extra, instead of having some less frequently used colors, like, I guess silver got used a lot, but there were some colors that didn't get used all that much, and they were always bright and fresh and ready. But you would think that instead of having those colors, they'd double up on the reds. In other words, you'd think that they would have had enough information to respond to the changing in demand over time, and then just supply more of that. Those are the fundamentals of the way the world works, okay? There you see supply and demand in action, all right? If there's a shortage of something, be it crayons, Beanie Babies, PS5s, you're going to see fights, you're going to see disagreements. If there's an oversupply of something, you're also going to see fights. So think about too many laborers in a certain industry. That's going to cause wages to decline, and that's going to lead to picket lines and fights. So while not all of the fights are going to be physical, they're fights nonetheless. They may be going to court or suing somebody or, industrial sabotage, lots of different things. If you see an injustice in our world, I encourage you to think about the economics behind it. And this includes racism and some of the foundational points about racism. And particularly here in the United States, it's easy to view. There's lots of documentation. Don't simply look at it as a black against white thing or a white against brown situation. Try to understand the economics underlying the hatred that you see. Again, this podcast is intended for general education on personal financial management and investments. I will talk about economics. Economic underpinnings of everything we do are super important and will help, and being critical along those lines will help you make really good decisions. And that's really our objective, is to help you make good decisions. I've not taken into account your personal situation in anything that I've said here, and nothing that I've said here should be considered investment advice. Do your own research and make your own decisions regarding your own situation. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And I'll see you when we have the next episode. Take care.